and welcome back to the Dreamcast. I am your host, Denise Walsh. I combine science, scripture, and stories that will inspire you to dive deep, break through your own personal glass ceiling, and design a life of your dreams.
Do you feel like you've not been able to make headway in achieving your goals? Or did you start the year pumped, ready to move forward on making things happen and simply lost your way? Things don't need to just get better. They actually can be better. In Design Your Dream Life, I'll show you a proven pathway to take you from where you are now to a life filled with joy, wholeness, success, and fulfillment. I'll give you the keys to not just developing a plan, but taking massive empowered action to make your dreams a reality. Turn roadblocks into stepping stones and leverage the power of gratitude and forgiveness. Let's face it, taking massive empowered action and making your dreams a reality isn't always easy. So I'll be there with you every step of the way. Visit dreamlifetoolkit.com to purchase your copy of Design Your Dream Life, obtain resources, and join our free community. Again, that's dreamlifetoolkit.com. Big welcome back to the Dreamcast. As you guys know, I am a proponent that you can truly live a Dream 10 life. Like, you can rate all areas of your life a 10. I really do believe that we can thrive in all areas at the same time. But we often need to focus on one area at a time to really move the needle in that specific area of our life. And today we're going to talk about the area of health. We know, right, that if we don't feel good, that domino affects and impacts all other aspects of our life. And our next guest is an obesity expert, dietitian, and nutritionist. She's also a best-selling author of Regain, Be Gone, and a podcaster of the same name, Regain, Be Gone. She is the owner of Low K Cal Gal LLC, which is a long-term weight loss concept that actually works where others have failed. And she spent 2 decades working with clients and families to help them lose weight together, strengthening the inter-family dynamics. I love that idea of losing weight and being healthier together as a family, because we know that really it's just about changing your habits to be healthier. And if we can all change our habits together, then it's way easier to maintain, I would guess. So she's going to share with us a bit about how we can, number one, eat healthier, right? Have these new habits, move more, and how it impacts all the rest of our areas of our life. So big Dreamcast welcome to Sameera Khan.
Thank you so much, Denise. It's an honor to be here with you guys. And I would love to talk about how I am so passionate about everything I do. And, to help people lose weight, I work in the field of bariatric surgery. But remember, surgery is always the last resort. All right. Even before that, you want to try to lose the weight and keep it off. And that's what I help people with, because there's definitely power in each one of you to lose weight and keep it off for life.
Well, and I know the CDC is showing that nearly 4 out of 10 U.S. adults have a body mass index classifying them as obese. And even if people start to lose weight, they end up putting it back on. So what have you found to be one of the biggest game changers for somebody to actually keep it off?
All right. The thing is, when people start getting on something like a menu or a diet, they keep going, they lose a lot of weight. In the beginning, it's really fast and it helps them lose a lot of weight. But after some time, they reach a set point. And what happens with that is they start plateauing off. And when that happens, they don't realize why they're doing the same things they were doing before, but how come the body has changed? So this is the period when the body needs to be shocked and things need to change, either the way you exercise or the way you eat. It could be the timings and things like that really helps you jumpstart the process again. So it's like a vicious cycle. It goes around in cycles, but you can keep going and going if you follow the protocols and things I teach you.
Well, that is interesting to think about. As somebody who is maybe eating out a lot of fast food or restaurant food, and sugar and, all the things, right? Pop, all that stuff. And maybe they make an initial change. They drink more water. They get on a menu plan where they're still full, but yet they're changing their food choices, and you'll see drastic results.
Correct.
But then your body gets used to that.
Yeah. There are a lot of reasons for that. Your metabolic rate decreases with weight loss. All right. So you've got to start working on that again. And also ghrelin, which is an appetite stimulating hormone, it seems to be higher in people who have lost weight, and that causes increased hunger. So, that's what happens. Then they start craving, their old habits come back, and it goes around and round. It's a struggle to keep the weight off after getting off a diet. That's why diets are temporary. And, you can't be on a diet all your life. So what I try to emphasize is clean eating, lifestyle change. So change the way you think about food more than anything else.
I actually did a bodybuilding competition a couple of years ago. And so I have seen the shift in my own body when I went on a stricter meal plan.
Right.
And I saw a change, and it was crazy, but I did have cravings, and I did know I can't do this forever. Oh my goodness. And so the clean eating idea says this isn't just something we start and stop. This is a way that we live our life. Is that right?
Exactly. Rather than processed foods, you want to go for things that are around you, right before you, rather than spending so much more money on, like diets and bars and things like that. So, it's very, very different because, our bodies have different ways of managing these set points. That's how they control your cholesterol, your blood sugar, even your blood pressure, right? That's why diet and exercise is not always enough for someone if you want to lose weight. It's more than that. It's much, much more than that. Because when you go on a diet, your body thinks it's being starved. So what happens then? When that happens, the survival kicks in. And that results, like what happens then, the body starts storing energy-rich body fat. Hence, that's why we don't lose the weight so easily.
How does somebody rev up their metabolism?
There are various ways to do it, different exercises you can do. And also, I know intermittent fasting is a huge thing, but then sometimes when people skip meals throughout the day, they make up for it by eating more at night, and that defeats the purpose. So eating every 3 hours tends to build up your metabolism and jumpstart it. But like I said, it doesn't work for everybody, because intermittent fasting does work for a lot of people. I'm not saying that it doesn't, but then when you want to jumpstart your metabolism, you want to do something where you tend to eat. And there are also natural metabolic boosters. And the thing is, males seem to have a higher metabolism than females, right? And also, as you get older, your metabolism slows down, all right? Bigger the body size, more the calories you burn. So someone who's at a higher weight tends to lose weight faster in the beginning, and then they slow down. But then you see that. And also the thyroid hormone plays a crucial role in increasing or decreasing your metabolism. So that's why you've got to make sure you get your thyroid checked, and, whatever the doctor tells you to do, like the levothyroxine, the medication you need to go on, you want to make sure you're on it. And like I said, of course, skipping meals also.
Well, and I think when I started my bodybuilding days, I had worked out forever. Like I'd run marathons, I'd always worked out, but I never really learned how to eat. And in fact, I think many of us never really learn how to eat to fuel our body versus eat what we want. And
big
so
difference.
When I started, they gave me a meal plan, 6 meals a day.
Okay.
So every 3 hours. And at first, I wasn't hungry enough to eat that much food.
So that's why people skip their meals, because they're not hungry enough,
And then as I started getting into the rhythm, I found I was hungry every 3 hours. Just like you think of a baby eats every 3 hours. I found I was hungry exactly when I was, quote unquote, supposed to eat for that next meal. And they were telling me that that's because my body has learned to trust that I'm going to fuel it, and it has revved up my metabolism in the meantime.
And do you know that people sometimes, when people who skip meals, they start eating, I teach them how to eat, and they start eating, and then they get upset that they're hungry even after they eat their breakfast, because they don't realize, they said, I would never used to be hungry before because I used to skip meals, and now you make me eat this and I'm hungry now to eat more, because that's because your metabolism has woken up,
Oh,
That's why you need to make sure you feed it right.
yeah. We did a workout group this past week, and I was talking to some of the girls who are currently have been on a meal plan, essentially, really just learning how to eat clean every 3 hours.
Right.
And she says she's eating way more than expected and still losing weight. She's like, I can't even eat as much food. Like I'm eating so much, but she's still losing weight because her metabolism is high.
Correct. Because people don't eat enough and they don't lose weight. And they're like, I hardly eat. Why am I not losing weight? Because you're not eating enough to jumpstart that metabolism. That's very, very important.
So tell me a bit about hormones. You mentioned the thyroid. I also know cortisol and stress hormones, ghrelin. Yeah, tell me how hormones play a piece in this.
Yeah, ghrelin plays a big role because it's the appetite stimulating hormone, and leptin is the one that is opposite it, so with bariatric surgery, when they do the surgery, they remove part of the ghrelin, which is the appetite stimulating hormone. And what happens then? That's how people tend to lose a lot of weight after bariatric surgery, because with the gastric sleeve, most of the ghrelin in the body that is produced is removed. So they're not as hungry and they don't crave for foods and things like that. So that's how they lose a lot more weight with surgery. When you don't have the surgery, you need to make sure that you take control of ghrelin, and leptin is exactly the opposite. And then you have the cortisol. The cortisol levels are very, very important because that's the stress hormone. Because when you get stressed and your cortisol levels go up, you tend to eat more and you don't lose as much weight because the cortisol goes rogue. So, you have to be careful that you watch your stress levels, because the stress hormone is produced by the adrenal glands. And when you're under pressure, it starts acting up.
So tell me a bit about why you got interested in health and wellness and working with an obese population.
Growing up, I grew up in India. And at that time, both my parents were overweight. And I always was interested in food and nutrition and the reasons people become overweight. So even when I came here and I went to school, my dorm mate was overweight and obese. And I saw that because of that, she ended up with the diabetes and heart disease. And it was ridiculous, the amount of pills she used to take. And all that stuff really got this thing in me that I have to learn what nutrition is all about, because I feel that is the basic thing of everything in this world. Eating right. It's important because I see that everybody, they live to eat, but you want to eat to live. So I wanted to put that forth to all my clients. And I felt like I had a passion for it because I felt like I could help people lose weight easily. And there is accountability, which I love. My clients are text me 24/7 on my cell phone. They're at the supermarket and they want to buy something. They just text me the picture of the nutrition label. And I'm like, yes, no, something like that. They just need that communication. And I love that. I enjoy that. I'm so passionate about it when people lose weight. This morning, this young kid who I have been seeing, he's lost 50 pounds in the past 3 months. And he listens to everything I tell him, and his confidence, he used to be so depressed and not confident about himself. And with COVID, it's been worse. People have gained a lot more weight staying at home. And when all these things happen, it makes me feel so good. That's all I need. It's a passion of mine.
Well, and I think it's needed because I was a healthy person. Well, at least I thought I was a healthy person, but I never learned nutrition. I never learned how to fuel my body with fats, carbs, and proteins and drinking water and all of that kind of stuff. It's just not taught. In fact, if you are working with somebody that is watching a lot of TV, right? TV is all marketing. They're not doing advertising for apples and bananas and broccoli.
No, you're definitely not.
Right. And so you think if somebody is really only getting their information from the media, they're certainly not learning how to eat.
No, not at all. It's amazing. What sugar does to the body, what soda does to the body. You don't even know what is going on over there. It's unbelievable. People are so they have no knowledge about what's going on. And media doesn't give you the right thing all the time.
No, it certainly doesn't. But we know that the way that you feel energetically and the way that you feel about yourself really does domino effect and impact all other areas of your life.
Over the years, it's an investment for your old age.
Yeah, for sure. And it sounds like you also work with families. Tell me a bit about that.
Oh, yes. That's what I like to work more. I try to emphasize that, just having the client there is not right, because who does the cooking at home? Who does the food shopping? How do you guys exercise? Do you do it by yourself? Because it's easier when they do it as a unit. So I have the whole family there, especially when I'm with kids. The whole family is there and they talk about what each one does and how they like to do things together. That really helps. And I feel like there is more success and more weight loss where it's a healthy competition between everybody in the all the family members, eating right and doing the right thing, correcting each other. I really love that, that the family works together, and I see a lot more benefits. So that's why I try to work with the whole family.
Well, and it puts everybody on the same page, and
exactly.
It helps the whole family to create new habits. So instead of one just feeling like they're on their own, everybody's doing it together.
And there's more motivation, The motivation is tremendous.
Yeah, for sure.
And hydration is also very important, hydration. A lot of people hate drinking water. So, what can you do instead of drinking water? You want to make sure hydration becomes a habit, especially with the kids. And what do you pack for school lunch? Things like that. It really, really helps.
Yes. And when I was doing the bodybuilding competition, they had me drink a gallon of water a day. So I had to learn, get a water bottle that was big enough and try to fill it 3 times so I could keep track. And
you have this bottle they sell, which motivates you. It tells you you're halfway there, you're almost there. Things like that. And sometimes you think you're hungry, but you're actually thirsty. Mm-hmm. So when you take that sip of water, that craving passes and helps you stay more on track.
Well, I love the idea of really changing your mindset around food, because I think, again, a diet is something you go on and you go off. And the goal is not to stare at the brownie and resist it. The goal is to not want the brownie or to not even have it around. And
exactly, willpower.
Right.
Yeah, it's a very hard concept to understand. But, when a lot of people don't have the willpower, because willpower decreases when you don't get enough sleep, because you don't feel good about yourself. It also decreases when you're a caretaker. You're taking care of your parents or your kids. You always put yourself on the back burner. We have women who do that, to themselves. And all these things happen because willpower decreases. When you go out, you tend to eat more when you're in a social circle than what you have to. So all that stuff is important. So these are things I teach people, like strategies before you go out. Maybe have a salad at home. So you're thinking with your head, not with your stomach when you go out, And again, willpower alone is not enough for weight loss, but then it's a very, very important part of it, along with mindful eating.
Tell me about that.
Mindful eating. Oh my God. Mindless eating is basically the future of being present. Like, you're watching TV and you're just munching something out of a bag. You don't even realize how much you're eating, right? Or you're sitting in front of the computer, working from home, remote access. You have a bowl of candy sitting there. You don't even realize what's going into your mouth. So that's why, when the calories are consumed and you're unaware of the quantity that's being eaten, that's mindless eating. So that's why, because you want to make sure you curb that. It's crucial. Otherwise, you tend to eat more and it's a snack attack. You're dealing with stress and things like that. So there are a lot of strategies you can do to prevent that. Like, you want to make sure you take your portion sizes, portion it out, put it in a bowl before you snack on something. Try to make see everything on your plate before you eat it. That's important. That causes you to eat less. Try to have serving dishes placed far away from, dinner or something, so you don't go for the second portion sizes, second servings, second helpings. There are various ways you can do that. Try to chew your bite. They say, mindful eating is like a yogi, someone who does yoga, where you're breathing, you're chewing well, you're taking your time and relaxing when you're eating. So it's just exactly like someone who does yoga.
Yeah, it sounds like paying attention to what
Right.
you're eating
You're seated, you eliminate distractions. We don't even do that. We just, we with everything that's going on in our lives, we're so like running around. We hardly have time to grab anything to eat.
Yeah, for sure. So let's say that somebody out there is like, all right, I get it. I probably need some support. If I really want to see a difference, learning nutrition is going to be an important step for that so I can actually maintain it. What would be one of the first things you would recommend somebody to do if they like really want to make a change in their life?
They want to make a change in their life. It depends if they want to see a dietitian, any dietitian who can help them get back on, like write out a menu, write out a personalized menu. That's important. Cookie cutter menus don't work for everybody. What you like, someone else might not like. So that's the first thing. You want to make sure you increase your protein, decrease your carbs. Not no carbs, just decrease the carbs and watch your portion sizes. That's very, very important. And what else can you do? Exercise is always a part of it because one does not work without the other. You want to make sure a minimum of 30 minutes a day. That's all I tell my clients, a minimum of 30 minutes a day. And if you don't exercise or do something every day, you should feel guilty about it. Because you know what? You are on, there's a light at the end of the tunnel for everybody. But you've got to make sure that you get there by following certain things like portion control. Use apps if you have to, or do whatever you can to help you get support. And also, if you feel like you need therapy, like mental health wise, for emotional eating and all that, you need to make sure you get that also. Because, that's how it works in combination.
Absolutely. It's really just deciding, right, you guys, that you want to make your health a priority. And so that means moving, that means water, that means probably eating more than you are now, but eating more of the right
foods. Because remember, there are no dress rehearsals in life. This is it. We have one body to take care of. We've got to do it before it's too late. We've got to invest in our future.
And I know you're giving away 10 to 15 initial nutrition consultations. Tell us about that.
Yes, I would love to give away one session, which is 10 to 15 minutes, just to go over and figure out what is going on with you and how you can start off and where you can start off from. So I would love to do that for the listeners of this podcast today. I have my email there, which is health@lowcalgal.com, health@lowcalgal.com. And I would love to get you guys started off on whatever you have to do, even if it's on your own or whatever, but I can just push you in the right direction.
Absolutely. You guys take advantage of this. You have 15 minutes with a nutritionist who can say, all right, this is what I would, that recommend to you so you can jumpstart your weight loss. What other programs do you offer?
I offer different sessions. It could be like a 12-week sessions. There could be a 6-week sessions, different sessions I offer, because the thing is, it just doesn't happen in one session. You've got to have accountability with me. And whoever does that has 24/7 access to me by texting me whenever they feel like, even on weekends and weeknights, whatever works for you, because I'm here just to help people get to their goals.
Tell me about a client you have had that has experienced success.
I had this guy who was initially 420 pounds, and he wanted to go for bariatric surgery because that's the only thing that he felt would help him. So before the bariatric surgery, I am the dietitian who helps them go through like a 6-month weight management period to help them get to learn what they're supposed to do after bariatric surgery. But guess what? In like 8 months, he lost 100 pounds just going along with me. And he decided not to go for the bariatric surgery. And now I invite him to my support groups to talk to other patients and clients about how he did it and what he did. And he is so much happier. He has dropped his blood pressure medications. He used to be on insulin. He's not on insulin anymore. He just takes oral medications. He used to have a CPAP for sleep apnea, where he needed that CPAP to sleep, but not anymore. His life has got so much better. And he said, surgery is always the last resort, which I totally agree. And if you can do it without surgery, why wouldn't you?
Ooh. And it does. It impacts all other aspects of your life. It impacts your relationships. It impacts your confidence. It impacts your productivity at work.
Oh my God, big time.
Absolutely. All right. So you guys check out health@localgal.com. You can email her to win a 10 to 15 minute initial nutrition. Also check out localgal.com for all the programs and podcasts and all that kind of stuff. You guys, if this is something that you have been brewing on for quite a while, the question for you is like, why wait? Why wait? Health is a huge part of our overall dream life. And I know that if it's something you've been brewing on, then this program will help you achieve your desired results, which will then impact everything else that you do too. Sameera, is there anything else you'd want to end with and share with our...
I'm here. I'm right here. Happy to help anybody. Let's do it. Like Denise said, why wait, right? Let's just start doing this, So everything is changing around us. But when we get out of this, we want to be a healthier version of ourselves.
Absolutely. Reclaim your body and your health. So check out localgal.com and Sameera will support you every step of the way.
Thank you so much, Denise. It was a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. I want to hear your aha moment from today's amazing episode. If you could leave a review at whatever podcast player you choose to listen from, Apple Podcast, Castbox, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you're listening from, leave a review and share with us your favorite part of today's episode. Thanks for hanging out, and remember to dream big.